welcome to my channel. Just something a little bit different here. I've been working on a project for a little bit of time now for a public exhibition or an installation exhibition down at Currumbin Beach, and I've just been notified that I've been accepted. So the piece that I'm working on or will be creating is called Sway, and it is making 1,000 origami cranes. I've got a couple of examples. This is it here. They'll be stuck on the end of a bit of dowel. This paper, it is a waterproof paper so that if it does rain, it's going to survive. When I graduated high school, I had a massive drive to do something creative, so I went straight into art school. So Claremont School of Art was where I first started attending. I did end up moving into Perth because they shut the Claremont School down, unfortunately. They did have some small classes there, but they didn't hold the fine arts degree that I was in. And there's a plane going over, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I practiced art for a long time. I had some exhibitions. I was also in Sculptures by the Sea a couple of years. I'll put some images now of what they are. So what I did there was I created my first exhibition. I was pretty inspired. So I created or made molds for houses. There were, I think there were 480 little plaster houses, and I painted them all in a very, very matte ceiling white, so they didn't reflect any light or anything, and they were really dull on the surface, and I had them in a little grid form. This one was called Curb Appeal, so K-U-R-B appeal. It's a little play on, you know, houses and suburbia. While I really am not a fan of suburbia, and I think it's really dysfunctional to creating a community vibe, I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with the whole cookie cutter houses and getting lost in those suburbs like I always do. So this was a play on the personality of those suburban homes and how they are just cookie cutter with a few small changes. So these are kind of, I like to call them house blanks. For the second piece that I did, I really didn't want to submit another work into the Sculptures by the Sea again, just based on a few things that happened the previous year, but I was asked back. So I submitted another one. I think it was untitled. I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically another play on that whole curb appeal cookie cutter make of suburban housing. So it was it was initially meant to be a little bit of a puzzle, and, you know, putting on your windows and putting on your front parts of your facade, and just a little play on that suburban thing. You know, a lot of people are like, when they buy a house, oh, I like the next door neighbors thing, or I saw this other house, or this is cool kind of style. So it was just a bit of a play on that. That was the last time I submitted into Sculptures by the Sea. It just wasn't really my vibe. And then after that, I pretty much was full-time in events, and that was probably the last thing that I ever created creatively. So this work for Swell that I'm doing for the end of the year is actually, I got the idea from, it's like a Japanese origami thing called senbazuru, I think it is. And basically the person that folds 1,000 cranes is granted a wish, but you must fold those 1,000 cranes in the year, and it must be folded by that one person. So I guess I kind of came up with the idea because I've had such a shit year during the whole coronavirus thing, with events dropping out, just having a hard time mentally of what I'm going to be doing with my life in the future, and not just relying on major events, because at this moment in time it really is not a good option to be working in. So I'm tossing around a few ideas. This whole year of 2021 has just been a bit of a big change, and I came into this year thinking I'm going to get back into my creative side, hence the whole swell thing. I thought initially when I came up with the idea, I was basing it on wanting to have a wish. I've always, ever since I was little, been obsessed with origami. I remember going to the library every Thursday with my mom and constantly getting origami books and just spending my whole time making origami. This is kind of just going back to this a simpler time where I could just focus on doing origami. My event work is starting to pick up a little bit, so it will be nice just to have a little bit of a creative break whenever I want to fold origami cranes. I'm pretty excited about it. I know that my hands are probably going to be killing because the research that I've done on the waterproof paper has been a little bit intense because some of the paper is quite thick. So I've found a waterproof, it's called 100 Pro. It's done in New South Wales, so I'm going to go online now and order it, and I'll get it cut by professionally down the road, and I guess I'll start folding. So it is the 27th of February. The show is in September, so I've got to start folding those cranes. I'll check in with you later. So my paper has arrived, and I've just had it brought back from the guillotine. They've cut it up for me. These cute little packs, all square, perfectly cut. So excited. Now I just have to clean this mess before I start. I folded 350 of these this week. My hands are so sore. I still have 500 more to go, so I'm trying to average about 300 a week so that I can start working on them and putting them on the dowel ready to install. This guy is a mega lifesaver. I could not fold the cranes without this. My hands would be killing even more than what they are right now. I use one of these when I do bookbinding. I don't know what they're called. I think they're called a boning tool or something. Super awesome to get really crisp edge when you're folding paper, and especially when it's this plastic paper. It is insane, totally insane to fold without one of these. I finally finished 1,300 cranes. My hands are a little bit sore. I can't believe it. On to the next step. How cute's this little guy? My house is crazy. I'm starting to work on the bits of dowel now. So I'm doing a little bit of varnishing. And so all the dowel has come like this. That's some of it. And I've just pulled apart the long 2 meter lengths and just bundled it up. There it is there. So now I'm just sealing it with an outdoor varnish just on my era. Basically, I decided to seal the bits of dowel just in case it rains or it gets wet. It doesn't kink up the dowel because the dowel's got knots and obviously it's a natural material. If it gets wet, it might bow or misshape, and I really want the bits of dowel to stay as straight as possible. As I'm going through the little bundles of dowel and just making sure that they've given me what I've ordered, I am noticing that there are some crooked ones. So these are the kinky ones here. You can see they're pretty wonky, especially this guy. I mean, look how crazy curved he is. I prefer not to use those, but thankfully they have actually given me some extra, thankfully they've given me some extra lengths so that it compensates for all of these like wonky ones here. I mean, I can still use these if I need to. I can cut them in the straight bits and then I can reuse those as well if I want to. Here are the birds, well, some of the birds. I've stapled them and put holes in the bottom so they can sit on the dowel. These are the larger ones over here. Pretty cool. And then I've got heaps more birds. More birds in the office. These ones I still need to pull apart. Those are the small ones, the medium ones, and then some big ones that I still need to open up. There is another box of birds somewhere that I've lost, which, where are they? Oh, they're just behind here. So there are the small ones. 1,300 of them. I'll show you some more soon. Okay, so here we are in my backyard. I am currently just set up all my bits of dowel because a couple of weeks ago I decided to varnish these just to protect them a little bit from the weather. If it gets wet, it could bend the timber a little bit, and because I want these to be really protected so that I could potentially uninstall this work and then reinstall it somewhere at another time, or I could reuse these dowels for another piece. I just want them to be as protected as possible from the weather. Once the piece has been installed and uninstalled at Swell, the mission is to take the birds off the top. For each piece of dowel, it's one bird. Currently have 1,300 origami birds, and each piece of this dowel represents one of those birds, so it's a lot of birds. My house is going to be completely full of origami birds and bits of dowel. I'm going to be coating these with two coats of varnish. I'm using this ultra clear in satin. It is definitely not cheap. Currently spent over $200 on varnish for this piece, and I think I'll probably need to go get another tin later on today. I'll show you my setup here. So here is my setup. It is a little messy at the moment. So this is an old Audi era. So I paint a coat on these ones here, and then for them to dry, and then I put like the ones down here to dry, and then I just keep rolling them so that they don't stick in the drying process. These ones are ready for another coat, and then you'll see this is my DJ deck that we use for shows. Currently there are no events, so and then what we do is I just put the sticks in here and then put the birds on top, and then I use a hot glue gun to stick the birds on top. Lights for working at night time here and here. Here are some birds that I'm slowly getting through. These are the really small ones. They're really cute. And then we've got the middle-sized ones, and then we've got the large ones here, which are great.